After a day of wind, clouds and way too many stairs in Genoa, I've landed in Manchester. Slightly colder, equally grey, but full of stories waiting to be uncovered. This is a city built on industry, revolution, reinvention and a bit of rain just for atmosphere. It's gritty, grand, modern and medieval, sometimes all on the same street. In this video, we're diving into Gothic libraries, iconic landmarks, indie corners, and the kind of places that locals walk past every day. But when you stop and look, there's something kind of magical about them. Let's start with a building that could double as a film set, but instead, it houses one of the most beautiful collection of books you'll probably ever see. First, we're going to step into John Rylands Library, Manchester's most stunning book palace, I guess, because it's so much more than a library. At first glance, I couldn't blame you if you thought this was a cathedral or a film set for something with dragons. But this neo-Gothic masterpiece is actually a library, built not just to house books, but to inspire awe. Entering the hall feels less like walking into a library and more like stepping into another time. It's grand, detailed, almost theatrical. Like someone looked at a medieval church and thought, oh yeah, let's put some books in here. The architecture is neo-Gothic, arched ceilings, angels carved into stone, stained glass glowing softly in the filtered light. It's the kind of space that makes you look up first, then slowly look down and take it all in. This was built in the late 1800s by Enriqueta Rylands as a tribute to her husband, John. And it wasn't just about collecting books, it was about creating a place worthy of them. Even before you reach a single shelf, the building itself is telling a story. And this is the reading room. It's quiet, calm, and just a little bit dramatic. Gothic arches, stained glass, warm wooden desks. It's less a grab your book and go and more a stay a while and whisper sort of feel. Built to impress, but somehow still feels peaceful. You don't need to be a scholar to appreciate it either, though it probably helps if you don't mind a little bit of dust. The closer you look, the more you find. Every arch, every carving, designed to impress, not just at a glance, but up close. And just when you think it can't get more detailed, you spot a dragon, naturally. Okay, so one stop in, and we're already running way behind schedule. There's just so much to look at in that library, it was amazing. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. On to Albert Hall now. From the outside, Albert Hall keeps things subtle. Perched above Deansgate, it was originally a Wesleyan chapel built in 1908. These days it's a live music venue, but look closely and you'll still see original stained glass windows peeking out. Not bad for a place that once banned dancing. And here we are now at Central Library. Now this library has a beautiful domed reading area. Let's go in and check it out. Manchester Central Library doesn't exactly whisper library. It's bold and round and a little bit Roman looking, with columns that seem to suggest that the books inside, well, they're pretty serious. Downstairs it's a bit less grand, but a lot more personal. There's reading areas, exhibitions and displays that dive into Manchester's social history, how people lived, worked and tried to stay warm through about 6 different types of rain. You'll find everything from photographs and newspapers to a model of a traditional Manchester tenement flat. Small, simple and a reminder that comfort wasn't always part of the blueprint. Upstairs, you get a great view of the entrance. Then you step into this, the domed reading room. Quiet, bright, and almost perfectly symmetrical. It feels more like a place that you come to think than a place you come to renew your library card. Look up and the ceiling does most of the talking. Look forward and the columns guide you straight to the readers, head down, focused, like they've been here for hours. And who knows, maybe they have. And then right next door to the library, we have Town Hall. And right behind me here is Town Hall. Isn't it beautiful? Well, use your imagination, I guess. Now, I told you we're moving fast today, and I wasn't joking. We're on the move, so keep up. Right in the middle of the city, St Anne's Church has stood here since 1712. Calm, worn, and quietly beautiful. And just across the square, a bronze figure rests on a bench. Part sculpture, part statement, I guess. The stained glass catches the light and beckons us to adventure inside. Inside, it's peaceful. Simple rows of pews lead your eyes toward the light. Above the main altar, stained glass filters through soft colours. Off to the side, smaller altars sit tucked away, modest, personal, and gently worn with time. This isn't a grand cathedral, but it doesn't need to be. It has a stillness and an atmosphere all of its own. Just outside, St Anne's Square opens up. It's quiet, just a few people walking around, but full of detail if you take a moment to notice. A small fountain marks the centre, and at the far end, a statue of Richard Cobden, a local lad, big voice in global trade, and now mostly overlooked by the overcast skies. From St Anne's Square, the walk takes you past a busy high street, and then something easily missed if you're not looking for it. This red postbox was here in 1996 when the IRA bomb detonated nearby. It survived the blast, battered but standing. Now it's a quiet memorial to a moment that changed the city. Okay, so next we're headed to the Old Wellington Pub, where pints have been flowing in Manchester since 1552. So she's old. We might grab a bite to eat there because I'm starving. The Old Wellington is one of the oldest buildings in Manchester, dating back to 1552. It's been lifted, moved and rebuilt over centuries, but somehow still feels like it belongs exactly where it is. Inside, it's classic pub, low ceilings, creaking floors, and the menu that doesn't mess around. Upstairs is where the magic happens. So I've ordered a rabbit pie. Let's see how that goes. Pies, proper ones. I went for the rabbit pot pie, hearty, rich and unapologetically filling. Topped with mashed potato, swimming in gravy that you pour yourself. It's not fancy, it's just very, very good. Manchester Cathedral has been here in one form or another for over 600 years. It's been expanded, restored, bombed during World War II and carefully rebuilt. Just outside, the worker bee, once a symbol of industry, now one of resilience, quietly watching over a city that keeps moving forward. Inside it's quiet, solid stone, soft light and a lot of history. The stained glass above the entrance sets the tone. Stone arches lead the way through, everything a bit uneven but in a good way. Candles flicker, no one really talks. You just sort of slow down. The main altar sits at the centre, modern, but not flashy. A clean, open space surrounded by wood carving and just enough gold to remind you it's important. Behind it, the choir stalls, intricately carved, like someone had a lot of time and a very sharp chisel. Off to the side, another chapel, another organ. Same level of impressive, just a little less obvious about it. once a bustling newspaper press, this is now Manchester's entertainment hub, Printworks. Printworks is a bit of a mix. Part shopping centre, part entertainment hub, with a touch of warehouse energy left over from its previous life. Look up, and the ceiling lights up with digital screens, like Times Square, but with more bricks and fewer tourists. It's loud, lively, and very much modern Manchester doing its thing. This was once a printing press complex, churning out newspapers for the north. Now it's home to cinemas, restaurants, and a surprisingly large hard rock cafe. Back outside and walking the streets now. Graffiti and posters line the streets. We walk through the old wholesale fish markets on the way to our next spot. Now we wander through the northern quarter, where creativity, caffeine and culture all collide. Manchester's northern quarter was once all about textiles, warehouses, mills, and the kind of buildings that were built to last. These days, it's the city's creative heart. Independent shops, street art, record stores and cafes where the coffee takes longer but tastes better. It's a bit scruffy, a bit stylish and very Manchester. Feeling peckish? Well, Mackie Mayor's got you covered. An 1850s market hall, now repurposed as one of the city's best food spots. From above, it's all glass and ironwork, open, industrial and buzzing at all hours. The ceiling alone is worth a look. The food? Everything from tacos and bao buns to steaks, seafood and sourdough pizza. Most meals will set you back around £12 to £15 and yes, of course there's coffee. Now we continue walking and our next stop is an area where history meets hipster. Ancoats used to be all mills and manufacturing, part of the engine room of industrial Manchester. Now it's loft apartments, bakeries, bikes and brunch. The red brick's still here, but these days it's more likely to be housing oak flat whites rather than cotton workers. Still feels raw and industrial though. And then there's the canal side, which we're about to explore. New Islington Marina, just next to Ancoats and very close to the city. Not too long ago, this was all old industrial and derelict land. Looking down the canal, you've got moored boats, new apartments, and a lot more ducks than you'd expect this close to the city centre. Then, up next to the footbridge, a mute swan is putting on a show, its wings stretched out, preening, fully committed to cleaning. Back on the path, we overlook more boats and a small island with trees in the middle. More ducks, because who doesn't need more ducks? We loop around and walk back along the other side of the canal, under an old bridge, foliage creeping in, and water spilling gently over the lock walls. Quiet, slow, still has a bit of an edge. And next we head to Afflecks, Manchester's alternative shopping area. And how are those legs feeling? I don't know about you, but mine are getting fairly tired. Doesn't matter, we've only got a few more stops on our list, so let's keep moving. Afflecks, part market, part maze. It's loud, colourful and full of things you didn't know you needed, like these pants, which I wore something very similar in the early 90s. The stairwells are bright and colourful with random, obscure artworks on the walls. There's something to look at everywhere. If you're looking for that perfect outfit for going out tonight, Afflecks has you covered. Or if you need that perfect disguise to rob your next bank, Afflecks has got you covered. The deeper you go, the more eclectic it gets. Knickknacks, hats, sunglasses, more ducks. Even get yourself some footwear. And if you're feeling adventurous, why not get yourself pierced on the way out? Well, they weren't joking. If it's alternative and you want it, then you can get it at Afflecks. Leaving Afflecks, it's a short walk through the northern edge of the city. A bit of red brick, a bit of everything really. Then you hit Victoria Station. It's been here since the 1840s, once one of the busiest rail hubs in the country. Now, it's had a bit of a glow up, but the bones are still the same. On the wall, the original tiled map, showing just how much of the north used to run through here. Trains, coal, cotton, but now, mostly commuters. Out of Victoria Station and I passed by the AO Arena, hard to miss, even if you're not heading to a gig. Then, it's over to the River Irwell. The bridge is all metal and rivets, industrial, solid and very on brand for Manchester. Okay, our next stop is the Manchester Science and Industry Museum, where Manchester's pioneering spirit comes to life. Let's go inside. This is where it all started. Manchester was home to the world's first stored program computer. It was big and it was slow, but it worked and it changed everything. Manchester was built on cotton. By the 1800s, it was the world's leading textile city, powered by steam, spinning machines and a lot of noise. Places like this were packed with reels, looms and workers keeping it all moving. They called it Cottonopolis, and for a while, well, the name fit. Now there's much more to see at the museum, but I'm running short of time and I've got more canals to look at. Next we wandered down to Castlefield. It's another area to check out the canals. Let's have a look. Castlefield's where Manchester slows down a bit. Old canals, iron bridges and old warehouses now filled with flats and cafes. It's a mix of ruins, railways and Sunday strolls, all sitting comfortably in harmony, right next to each other. You may recognise this area from the scenes of Peaky Blinders. Looking back over the canals, you get the classic Manchester contrast. Red brick mills and warehouses up front, glass towers in the distance. The past's still here, it's just got a new modern backdrop now. And there's the worker bee again, a symbol of Manchester since the 1800s. It's a nod to the city industrial roots and the people who kept it running. It's a symbol about hard work, community and quietly getting on with it. Walking along the Cal, the city shifts again. Graffiti covers old brick, some of it art, some of it, let's call it enthusiastic. It's gritty, but it's got character. Then you hit First Street. Cleaner lines, coffee and culture. But if you look over your shoulder, that old rundown industrial vibe is still there. Yep, you're still in Manchester. Okay, so I'm not here for a drink, just the tile work. The Refuge sits inside what used to be the old Palace Hotel. The walls are covered in glazed terracotta tiles, high Victorian style, all arches, columns and serious symmetry. It's bold, it's intricate and it's definitely over the top, which is exactly why I came in here. And last but not least, we head to the gay area, Canal Street. Just off Canal Street, it's fitting to mention Alan Turing, a pioneer of computing and a gay man persecuted by the very country he helped save. He spent his final years here in Manchester, now remembered not just for what he built, but for who he was. Canal Street's been at the heart of Manchester's LGBTQ+ scene for decades. Bars, flags, history, and a community that's made this stretch of the city its own. And that brings today's exploration to an end. I'm sitting down and having a beer and catching up with a few friends before my legs give way. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed exploring Manchester with me today. Manchester's a city that doesn't shout, but it's got a lot to say if you take the time to look. History, music, industry, culture, it's all layered together, usually with some rain in between. Thanks for coming along on this journey. I'll see you in the next one.